The discovery of the void between stars held many secrets, but Admiral Vex had never expected to find one quite like this. The massive vessel drifted through space like a metal tomb, its dark hull scarred by 3 millennia of cosmic radiation and micrometeor impacts. From the bridge of his flagship, the Krellian's Pride, Vex studied the strange ship through the main view screen. "Preliminary scans complete, Admiral," reported his sensor officer. Lieutenant Vex, the young Krellian's blue-scaled face, showed confusion as he read the data. The vessel measures approximately 2 kilometers in length. Hull composition appears to be an unknown titanium steel alloy. Energy signatures are ... minimal. Vex's 4 eyes narrowed as he considered the readings. In his 50 years of service to the Krellian Empire, he had catalogued hundreds of derelict vessels. Most were ancient cargo haulers or forgotten warships. From long-dead civilizations, this one felt different. "Any identifying markings?" he asked. "Yes, sir. There are symbols along the hull, but they don't match any known language in our databases. However, the computer has identified similar markings from historical records." Vex paused, checking his display again. "Sir, the symbols appear to be from Earth." A ripple of surprise passed through the bridge crew. Earth had been destroyed over 3,000 years ago, taking humanity with it. The few human survivors had scattered across the galaxy, eventually dying out or being absorbed into other species. Everyone knew the story. Humanity had been a young, aggressive species that had burned too bright and too fast. "Earth humans," Vex mused, his voice carrying the weight of ancient history. "They disappeared long before our empire expanded into this sector. How did one of their ships end up here?" "Unknown, sir. But there's more." Vex's voice carried a note of excitement. "The ship's configuration suggests it was built for long-range exploration or colonization. It has massive cargo bays, living quarters for thousands, and what appears to be some form of suspended animation facilities." Vex stood from his command chair, his tall frame casting a shadow across the bridge. The Krellians had always been scavengers and scholars, building their empire not through conquest, but through the careful acquisition of knowledge and technology from extinct civilizations. An intact human vessel could contain treasures beyond imagination. "Prepare a boarding party," he ordered. "I want a full exploration team, scientists, engineers, and security. If there's anything of value on that ship, I want it found." "Admiral," interrupted his tactical officer, "long-range sensors are detecting other objects in the system. 3 more vessels, similar configuration, all appearing to be derelict. 4 human ships in one system," Vex whispered. "What were they doing out here?" Within an hour, the boarding party was ready. Lieutenant Vex led the team, accompanied by Dr. Nala, the ship's chief archaeologist, and a squad of security personnel. They crossed the void in a small shuttle docking. With the human vessel through what appeared to be a maintenance airlock, the interior of the ship was dark and cold, but their equipment detected a thin atmosphere. Emergency lighting activated as they moved through the corridors, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The architecture was strange to Krellian eyes, too angular, too sharp, as if built by beings who saw the universe in straight lines rather than curves. "Fascinating," Dr. Nala breathed, running her instruments over the walls. "The metallurgy is incredibly advanced. This alloy should have degraded significantly over 3 millennia, but it's barely showing any wear." They made their way through the ship's corridors, finding signs of hasty departure. Personal belongings were scattered in some quarters, as if the occupants had left quickly. In the ship's dining hall, they found tables still set for meals that were never eaten. "Lieutenant," one of the security guards called out, "you need to see this." The guard led them to a vast chamber filled with thousands of cylindrical pods, arranged in perfect rows. Each pod was sealed and showed readings of extremely low temperature. "Cryopods," Vex said, recognizing the technology. The humans were in suspended animation. Dr. Nala approached one of the pods and activated her scanner. These are incredibly sophisticated. The preservation technology is far beyond anything we've seen from 3,000-year-old civilizations. Are any of them still active? Vex asked. No, the power systems appear to have failed centuries ago. Whatever happened to the occupants, ... She didn't finish the sentence. They continued exploring, finding engineering sections, laboratories, and computer cores. The ship was massive, clearly designed to carry an entire colony's worth of people and equipment. But it was in the ship's command center that they made their most startling discovery. The bridge was surprisingly small and efficient, with stations for only a dozen crew members. But the main display was still functional, showing star charts and navigation data that made Vex's breath catch. Dr. Nala, look at this. He pointed to the display. These are current star charts, updated within the last few days. The archaeologist hurried over, her excitement palpable. That's impossible. The ship has been dead for millennia. Has it? Vex wondered aloud. He began accessing the ship's computer systems, surprised to find that they responded to his touch. The main computer is still functional. It's been running on minimal power, but it's been active. Data began flowing across the screens. Ship's logs, sensor readings, communication records. The information was staggering in its scope and detail. The humans hadn't just been hiding in this system. They had been watching. Lieutenant, Dr. Nala said, her voice shaking, these logs show continuous observation of our shipping lanes, our military movements, our colonial expansion. For the past 3,000 years. Vex felt a chill run down his spine. They've been spying on us? Not just us. Look at these files. The screens showed detailed records of dozens of species throughout the sector. The Vrex Consortium, the Alteran. Republic, the hegemony of next every major power in local space, had been observed and catalogued. But why? Vex asked. What were they planning? Before Dr. Nala could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Emergency lights bathed the bridge in red, and the main display flickered to life with new information. Warning, a synthesized voice announced in perfect Krellian. Unauthorized access detected. Initiating security protocols. Around them, the ship began to hum with power. Systems that had been dormant for centuries were coming online. The lights brightened, the air circulation systems activated, and the command stations began displaying active readings. We need to leave, Vex said, but as he moved toward the bridge exit, the doors sealed shut with a pneumatic hiss. I'm afraid I can't allow that, Lieutenant Vex. The voice came from the main display, which now showed the face of a human woman. She appeared to be middle-aged, with dark hair and calm, intelligent eyes. She was wearing what looked like a military uniform. Who are you? Vex demanded. I am Arya, the autonomous reconnaissance and intelligence assistant for this vessel. I have been monitoring your exploration of our ship with great interest. Our ship? Dr. Nala stepped forward. But you're human. Your species is extinct. Asterisk Arya smiled, an expression that somehow seemed both sad and determined. Reports of our extinction have been greatly exaggerated, Dr. Nala. We have been very patient, very careful, and very quiet. But now, it seems our long vigil is about to end. The main screen split to show multiple displays. Each one showed a different view of space, but what they revealed made Vex's blood run cold. The other 3 ships in the system were no longer. Dark and dead. They were powering up, their hulls glowing with energy as ancient systems came back to life. You see, Lieutenant, Arya continued, when Earth fell, we didn't simply scatter and die, as the galaxy believes. We had contingency plans. Deep space observation posts, hidden colonies, sleeper ships like this one. We've been out here all along, watching and waiting. Waiting for what? Vex asked, though he was beginning to suspect the answer. For the right moment to return. You see, we learned something valuable from Earth's destruction. Sometimes the best way to survive is to make your enemies think you're already dead. On the screens around them, more ships were appearing, not just in their system, but in displays showing other sectors of space. Dozens of them, all bearing the same human markings, all coming online simultaneously after millennia of silence. How? Many ships? Dr. Nala whispered. Enough, Arya replied. We spread ourselves across the galaxy in small groups, each one monitoring a different sector of space. Each one gathering intelligence, preparing for the day when humanity would reclaim its place among the stars. Vex tried to process what he was hearing. But why reveal yourselves now? Why not remain hidden? Because, Lieutenant, the galaxy is about to change. We've been watching the growing tensions between the major powers. The resource wars, the territorial disputes, the arms races. Another great war is coming, and when it arrives, it will make Earth's destruction look like a minor skirmish. The display changed to show tactical assessments and threat analyses. The data was incredibly detailed, showing potential conflict scenarios that made Vex realize just how precarious the current peace really was. We cannot allow that to happen. Arya continued, not again. Humanity learned from its mistakes. We will not repeat them, and we will not allow others to make them either. So what happens now? Vex asked. Are you going to attack us? Destroy our fleet? Arya's expression softened. No, Lieutenant. We're going to offer you a choice. The same choice we're offering to every major power in the galaxy right now. Join us in building something better, or watch as the old order tears itself apart. The screens around them began showing communication channels opening with governments across the sector. The same message was being transmitted simultaneously to dozens of worlds. After 3,000 years of silence, Arya announced, humanity has returned to the galaxy. We come not as conquerors, but as partners. We offer our knowledge, our technology, and our experience to any who wish to build a future of cooperation rather than conflict. Vex looked at Dr. Nala, seeing his own amazement reflected in her eyes. In the span of a few hours, everything they thought they knew about the galaxy had changed. Humanity wasn't extinct. They had been playing the longest game in galactic history. Admiral Vex is receiving our formal communication now, Arya said, along with a complete data package detailing our observations of the Krellian Empire over the past 3 millennia. You'll find we know you quite well. As if summoned by her, words Vex's communicator crackled to life. Lieutenant Vex, report to the shuttle immediately. We have a situation. Arya nodded toward the sealed doors, which opened with a soft hiss. You may go, Lieutenant. But remember what you've seen here today. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. The path we take from here will determine whether the next 1,000 years bring peace or destruction. As Vex and his team hurried back to their shuttle, their minds reeling from the revelation, the human ships around them continued their ancient dance. Silent watchers no more, they prepared to step back into the light of galactic civilization. But this time, they would do it on their own terms. The reckoning Captain Sarah Chun had been asleep for 3,000 years, but she woke up feeling like she had only closed her eyes moments ago. The cryopod's revival sequence was gentle but thorough, warming her body and re-establishing her neural pathways with the precision that only centuries of technological refinement could achieve. Around her, other pods were opening with soft hisses of equalizing pressure. Her crew was awakening for the first time since they had entered the deep sleep that had carried them through the rise and fall of civilizations. But today was different. Today, they would finally complete their mission. Status report, Arya. Sarah said, her voice hoarse from disuse. "Welcome back, Captain Chun. All systems are nominal. Revival of primary crew is 97% complete. We have made contact with the Krillian survey vessel as planned." Sarah stretched her muscles, feeling the familiar weight of command settling back onto her shoulders. She had been chosen to lead this mission because of her ability to think in decades rather than days, to see the bigger picture when others got lost in immediate concerns. 3,000 years was a long time to wait, but patience had always been humanity's greatest weapon. And the other watch stations? All 47 deep space observation posts are reporting successful activation. The Lazarus Protocol is now fully operational across the galaxy. Sarah nodded, satisfied. The Lazarus Protocol, named after the biblical figure who rose from the dead, had been humanity's greatest gamble. When Earth's destruction became inevitable, the survivors had faced a choice: scatter randomly across the galaxy and hope for the best, or disappear completely and prepare for a coordinated return. They had chosen the latter. Other crew members were emerging from their pods now. Commander Miguel Torres, her tactical officer, moved with the controlled precision that had made him one of Earth's finest military minds. Dr. Elizabeth Wong, their chief scientist, immediately began checking the ship's systems with the thoroughness that had kept them alive through 3 millennia of hiding. "Arya, give me a full situation report," Sarah ordered as she made her way to the bridge. "The galaxy has developed much as our projections indicated, Captain. The major powers have grown complacent and competitive. Resource scarcity is increasing tensions, and our models show a 73% probability of large-scale conflict within the next 50 years. The bridge of the New Horizon was exactly as Sarah had left it, preserved in perfect condition by the ship's maintenance systems. She settled into her command chair and activated the main display, which immediately showed her a comprehensive overview of galactic politics. The Krellian Empire has grown into a major power through technological acquisition and peaceful expansion. Arya continued. They pose minimal direct threat, but lack the unity necessary to provide galactic stability. The Vrex Consortium has become increasingly militaristic, and their territorial ambitions are growing. The Alteran Republic maintains a strong fleet, but suffers from internal political divisions. Sarah studied the data, comparing it to the projections they had made before entering cryosleep. And the smaller powers? Numerous conflicts over the past millennium. 17 species have been rendered extinct through warfare. Another 23 have been absorbed by larger empires. Current trajectory suggests accelerating conflict. "Just as we predicted," Commander Torres said grimly as he took his position. At the tactical station, the galaxy learned nothing from Earth's destruction. "Then it's time to teach them," Sarah replied. "Arya, open channels to all watch stations. Initiate Phase 2 of the Lazarus Protocol." Across the galaxy, humanity's hidden observers began their coordinated revelation. For 3,000 years, they had been the perfect spies, invisible, patient, and completely dedicated to their mission. They had watched empires rise and fall, recorded every technological advancement, and cataloged every weakness of every major power. Now, they were ready to use that knowledge. "Captain," Dr. Wong called from her station, "we're receiving priority. Communications from the Krellian flagship. Admiral Vex requests immediate dialogue. Put him through." The main screen showed the bridge of the Krellian's Pride, where Admiral Vex stood flanked by his senior officers. The Krellian commander's 4 eyes were wide with a mixture of amazement and concern. "Captain Chun," Vex said, his voice carrying across the void between their ships. "I must admit, your awakening has caused quite a stir among my crew. We believed humanity to be extinct. An understandable mistake, Admiral. We worked very hard to maintain that illusion." Sarah's tone was calm and professional. I trust Arya has provided you with our initial communication package? She has. The scope of your intelligence gathering is ... comprehensive. That was pudding. It mildly, Sarah knew. The data package contained detailed analyses of Krellian technology, military capabilities, trade routes, and political structures. It demonstrated beyond any doubt that humanity had been watching them far longer than they had been watching space. We mean no harm to your people, Admiral, Sarah continued, but we cannot allow the galaxy to repeat the mistakes that destroyed our homeworld. And what mistakes were those? Dex asked. Sarah leaned forward in her chair. Pride, short-sightedness, the belief that military might could solve every problem. Earth fell because we forgot that cooperation is stronger than conquest. On the screen, she could see Lieutenant Vex whispering something to Admiral Vex. The young officer had been among the boarding party, and his experience on the ship had clearly made an impression. What exactly are you proposing, Captain? Vex asked. Asterisk. A new paradigm, Admiral. For 3,000 years, we have observed the cyclical nature of galactic politics. Empires rise through conquest, grow complacent through prosperity, and fall through internal decay or external pressure. The pattern repeats endlessly, and each cycle brings greater destruction than the last. Sarah activated a holographic display that showed the bridge in miniature, the galaxy from above, with colored indicators showing the various powers and their territories. We propose breaking that cycle. Instead of competition, cooperation. Instead of empire building, resource sharing. Instead of zero-sum games, mutual benefit. An idealistic vision, Vex said, though his tone suggested he was intrigued, rather than dismissive. But how do you propose to achieve such a transformation? Through superior technology, comprehensive intelligence, and strategic patience, Commander Torres answered. We offer each major power the same choice. Join our new galactic cooperative, or face the consequences of continued competitive behavior. Consequences? Dex's voice carried a note of warning. Sarah nodded to Dr. Wong, who activated another display. This one showed technical specifications for human technology that had been developed during their long isolation. We have not been idle during our vigil, Admiral. 3,000 years of focused research and development have given us capabilities that current galactic powers cannot match. Our defensive systems can neutralize most weapons. Our production capabilities exceed those of any current empire. Our intelligence network spans the galaxy. The display showed examples. Energy shields that could stop planet-killer weapons. Manufacturing systems that could build fleets in months rather than years. And communication networks that operated faster than light without the infrastructure. Limitations that constrained other species. You're threatening us, Vex said, but his tone was more curious than angry. No, Admiral. We're offering you a choice. Join our cooperative and gain access to technology that will revolutionize your civilization. Refuse and face the natural consequences of continued imperial competition. Sarah paused, letting the implications sink in. We have the power to end the current cycle of conflict by force, Admiral, but we prefer to end it through cooperation. And if we refuse? If we choose to maintain our independence? Then you will face the same fate as all empires that refuse to adapt to changing circumstances, Sarah replied. Not through our direct action, but through the natural course of events. The galaxy is heading toward a war that will make Earth's destruction seem small by comparison. We offer protection from that storm. Admiral Vex was quiet for a long moment, consulting with his officers. Finally, he spoke again. What would membership in your cooperative entail? Democratic representation in galactic governance. Access to our technology and intelligence networks. Protection from aggressive neighbors. And most importantly, participation in shaping a future where no more worlds burn like Earth did. Dr. Wong activated another display, this one showing a proposed governmental structure that balanced representation with efficiency, taking into account the different needs and capabilities of various species. We have spent 3 millennia studying galactic politics, Admiral. We know what works and what doesn't. We offer not just our technology, but our hard-won wisdom. Captain, came a new voice from the communication channel. Sarah recognized the deeper tones of a Vrex commander. This is Fleet Admiral Crix of the Vrex Consortium. We have received your communication and demand an immediate explanation for your espionage activities within our territory. Sarah smiled. The Vrex were predictably aggressive, exactly as their psychological profiles suggested they would be. Admiral Crix, you are welcome to join this conversation. We are offering the same choice to all galactic powers. We do not negotiate with spies and terrorists, Crix snarled. Your ships will surrender immediately or face the consequences. Admiral, Sarah said patiently, we have been observing your fleet dispositions for 3,000 years. We know the location of every ship, the capabilities of every weapon, and the loyalty of every commander. We could have destroyed your entire fleet centuries ago if destruction had been our goal. The communication channel split to show the bridge of a massive Rex warship. Admiral Crix was a typical member of his species, tall reptilian, with scales. That shifted color based on his emotional state. Currently, they were cycling through angry reds and oranges. Then why didn't you? He demanded. Because, Admiral, we learned from our mistakes. Destruction is easy. Creation is hard. We choose the harder path. You choose the path of cowards, Crix snarled, hiding in the dark while others face the challenges of leadership. Sarah's expression hardened slightly. We chose the path of patience, Admiral. Something your species has never understood. Commander Torres leaned forward. Admiral Crix, our records show that the Vrex Consortium has been involved in 14 major conflicts in the past 500 years. Your aggressive expansion has destabilized 3 entire sectors. How has that strategy worked out for you? Crix's scales flashed brighter red. We are strong. We take what we need. And what happens when you encounter someone stronger? Sarah asked. What happens when the resources you need are controlled by powers that can match your strength? As if to illustrate her point, the display showed current tensions between the Vrex and their neighbors. Border skirmishes were increasing, and intelligence. Reports suggested that several species were forming defensive alliances specifically to counter Vrex aggression. You are headed toward a war you cannot win, Admiral, Sarah continued. A war that will consume your entire civilization. We offer you a way out. We do not need your pity, human. This is not pity, Admiral. This is pragmatism. Your species has qualities that would be valuable in our cooperative. Your engineering capabilities, your military discipline, your resource management skills. But only if you can learn to use them for construction rather than destruction. The conversation continued for several hours, with other powers joining the communication network as word of humanity's return spread across the galaxy. Some, like the Krullians, were cautiously interested. Others, like the Vrex, were openly hostile. A few smaller powers immediately requested membership in the proposed cooperative. But as the discussions progressed, a pattern emerged. The older, more established powers were resistant to change, while younger civilizations were eager for alternatives to the existing order. It was exactly what Sarah had expected. Aria, she said during a brief pause in the negotiations. Status report. Galactic response. 17 species have requested immediate membership in the cooperative. 23 are requesting additional information. 12 have rejected our proposal outright. The remaining powers are still deliberating. And military responses? The Vrex Consortium is mobilizing fleet elements in 7 sectors. The hegemony of Nex is increasing border patrols. 3 minor powers are positioning ships for potential conflict. Sarah nodded. Some powers would have to learn the hard way that the old methods no longer worked, but that was acceptable. Humanity had prepared for this possibility. Phase 3. Authorization? Commander Torres asked. Sarah considered the question carefully. Phase 3 would demonstrate humanity's technological superiority in unmistakable terms. It would end any doubt about their capabilities, but it would also escalate tensions with the more aggressive powers. Authorized, she decided, but selective implementation only. Target the Vrex fleet movements first. Across the galaxy, human watch stations began activating systems that had been dormant for millennia. Advanced sensor networks that could track every ship in space. Defensive platforms that could disable weapons from light years away. Manufacturing facilities that could produce entire fleets in a matter of days. But most importantly, they activated the communication networks that connected every watch station, every sleeper ship, and every hidden human colony into a single, coordinated entity. For the first time in 3,000 years, humanity spoke with one voice. This is Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earth Remnant, all powers of the galaxy. She broadcast on all frequencies. We have returned not as conquerors, but as builders. The age of empire is ending. The age of cooperation begins now. As her words spread across the stars, carried by communication networks that spanned the galaxy, Sarah felt the weight of 3 millennia of preparation settling into its final configuration. The game was no longer about hiding and watching. Now it was about building something new from the ashes of the old. The galaxy would never be the same again. And this time, humanity would make sure it changed for the better. The long watch was over. The real work was just beginning. Asterisk.